Uhuru family. Well, it's such a pleasure to be here. I've learned so much. Usually when I come to the Electoral Candidate School, I'm asked to speak about referendums following Reverend Pinckney with recalls. Today I'm changing up the presentation a little bit. I was asked to change it up a little bit. But let me give you a report back on some referendum that we had an opportunity to advise a brother in Detroit. He wanted to put reparations on the ballot via referendum. And he called me. I told him how to write his petition. He successfully made the changes. They implemented the referendum, and Detroit voters came back 80% for a reparations commission in Detroit, utilizing what we learned right here in the Electoral Candidate School. So we're putting this into practice, for sure, for sure. Today, or this conference, all throughout the conference, there's been a theme that has been shared. And that theme is, we will win. Brother Jamu Baraka yesterday said, we will win. Brother Zaki Baruti says, we will be victorious. Sister Akili Anai said, we are winning. Brother Charles Barron today says, we will win, we will build a new society, our victory is certain. Brother Jesse Todd said, we will win, we can't lose with discipline and commitment. And Sister Sister Alikia gave us the African Nation to Fight song, we are winning. And then Reverend Pinckney says, we're gonna fight to the end. So my new organization is Reparations United, and our tagline is, we are determined to win. And when you say you're determined to win, you do not just hold the notion that you're gonna win, the idea in your mind that you're gonna win. You're not just self-motivating yourself that you're gonna win, but you're actually making the commitment to do the work to win. And so we say we are determined to win. And that's a personal and organizational commitment around the issue of reparations. That means we will do whatever it takes for us to win this battle around reparations. And what we found out, or what we have been able to understand over the last year and a half, is that in the reparations movement, in order for us to win, we got to deal with this chaos that has developed in the movement. And there's a lot of chaos in the movement at this particular time. Yesterday, the chairman said, in our defeat of the revolution in the 1960s and 70s, organizations became scattered, and the defeat left the movement in a chaotic state. Organizations are still disconnected today, and there's still ideological confusion from that defeat. Today, we still see in the reparations movement, that ideological confusion, that chaos. The chaos exists in this movement now. There are contending organizations with contending ideologies, with contending definitions of what reparations should be or what reparations is. And when I talk about contending, I'm saying that they're battling one against the other. Instead of battling the forces that put us in this position, there's battling within the movement around ideology, around organizational stands, and around definitions. What exists in the movement right now is movement celebrityism, where people are trying to be the biggest name, some type of star in the reparations movement. We see political immaturity in the reparations movement, organizational egotism, ideological confusion, constant creations of distracting noise in the movement. We're supposed to be working in this direction, and here comes some noise to distract us over in this direction, taking us from the mission. People in other organizations are undermining other people's work. And I see that happening with some of the work that I've been doing. There's theft of other people's work in the movement. There's competitiveness over cooperation in the movement. And we cannot win with all this chaos and confusion in the movement. But the biggest, and one of the other things is right now we see it, especially in the local arena, is like who can make the biggest and boldest demand of what reparations should be. Not that they gonna get it, but they can say it and put it out there in the ethers. and everybody's trying to outdo each other. This is what's going on in the reparations movement, and we say we cannot win as long as this chaos exists. And if we are determined to win, like Reparations United said, we are determined to win, we have to specifically deal with this chaos. All of this chaos has resulted in what I call extreme mission drift. We've lost sight of the mission. And we put it on a Reparations Unity tour to get us to get back on track on the mission. We've entitled it The Mission, the Mandate, and the Method. But it's specifically designed to deal with this chaos in the reparations movement that has never existed like it exists now. The purpose of our tour is to foment a shared understanding of the mission and agreement of those of us in the movement to move forward to push the Reparations United front, push reparations forward. The tour centers around the mission, the mandate, and the method. I'm gonna go from my screen. So this is like a 45-minute presentation. I have about another 10 minutes, so I'm just gonna shoot past a lot of this and only focus on the mission. But the messages that I'm taking nationwide is that the mission is a federal redress bill, has to occur, and for that to occur, there has to be a united front, built and maintained. As Charles Barron says, the 4 stages of revolution is you have to maintain, you have to first build the energy, and then you have to maintain that energy, and then you have to win. And so we must build a united front, and we must maintain that united front. The mandate centers around what the Federal Commission is required to accomplish. There's a lot of confusion around that. And the method is that we have to have enough unity in the movement and a serious downplaying of the differences that we hold. There are 3 major differences that people are fighting around. And later on, if I have an opportunity to have questions, I'll talk about those 3. But for us to move forward, for us to win, we have to be on mission. We have to clearly understand the mandate, because if we understand the mandate of the commission, there's no need to fight about these ideological differences, because we can all get what we want if we understand the mandate of the commission and if we stay seriously focused on the mission. We don't have to give up our differences. You can hold on to whatever those differences are, and I can talk about those later. And we can still win if we focus on the mission. What is the mission? The mission is the enactment of HR 40 commission, or getting HR 40 commission established through presidential executive order. In order to achieve our mission, we must understand power. We must understand our power, and we must understand and utilize how we can utilize our power to move the Democratic Party and the president into creating the commission. So, said simply, our mission is to wage an all-out assault on the Democratic Party and the executive branch of this government for the purpose of reparations. I'm not talking about all-out assault. I'm not talking about a military assault. We're talking about an ideological assault around this whole issue of what is democracy. If there's democracy, then we should be able to easily get a presidential commission if there's actual democracy. And the fact that we're fighting so hard to get a presidential commission is a clear indication that we do not have a democracy. And so we have to have an all-out ideological assault on the executive branch of government and the Democratic Party. That's the mission. So how do we do this? We have to understand power. Dr. Amos Wilson, the Blueprint for Black Power, Brother Charles Barron built a tremendous organization around this book in New York. It's how he accomplishes what he's able to accomplish. Dr. Amos Wilson said there's 2 types of power. There's the power to do and the power over. And it's power to do what you want to do. It's power to self-determine. It's the power to get other people to do what you want to do, or to prohibit other people from making you do what they want to do, what they want you to do. And so those are the 2 types of power. There are 4 forms of power. There's force, where you can biologically, physically, or psychologically use means to make someone do what you want them to do it with military means or whatever. There's coercion. Coercion is where you use force, or the threatened use of force, or the instrumental use of force. Is when people believe you have the power the force to make them do something, and they believe you will utilize it, even if you don't have it, they believe that you have it. You don't have to have it, but if they believe you have it and they believe you'll use it, then you can coerce them to doing what you want them to do. Then there's influence. Influence, the use of influence is how our Black leadership in office, in Congress, thinks that that's the only way, only form of power that they have. They try to influence the president. And the only way you can influence someone is when they believe you have their best interests at heart, or they believe that you are the authority, or they believe that you're the expert on the issue. And white folks don't believe that we're the experts on the issues. They don't believe we have authority. And they know, many of them know, that our Black leadership will do what's in their best interest. So that's the only form of power that our leadership tries to use, and that's influence, and it only goes so far. And then the fourth form of power is manipulation, when you conceal your efforts to achieve a certain action. Now I'm here to say we have force. We have the power to force this government, this president, this Democratic Party to do what we want. And I say what we want right now is our mission of establishing this Reparations Commission through executive order. We have the force and we have the coercion. We have the power. And people don't use their power if they don't know they have it. And it's why we are not getting what we want out of this party, because we don't know we have power and we don't know the type of power that we have. But once we find out, and that's why we're going on this tour to tell people, this is the power that we have, and this is how we have to use it. So we have the power to force and we have the power to coerce. And I'm gonna show you what I mean by that. Our power centers around the critical need for the Democratic Party to perpetually hold the Black vote in order to win the presidency. The Democratic Party cannot win a presidency in this country without the Black vote. We have 60 years of data to show that, and none of our leaders are telling us we have that power. There's a lot of power in the hands of people and organizations when a particular party controls the executive branch of government. They put people in the department, the cabinet heads, Department of Education, control this huge budget of national education, Department of Housing and Urban Development, this huge multi-billion-dollar budget around housing and urban development, Department of Treasury, Department of Health, the Department of Defense. All of these major departments, major administration, bureaucracies within the federal government are in control of the party that wins the presidency. Yeah. The Department of Defense, 70 cents of every tax dollar goes to the Department of Defense, and 30 cents of every tax dollar goes to everything else that this government does. That's tremendous power. 70 cents out of every dollar goes to the military in this country. 30 cents does everything else. And this is the power we're giving to these people. We are at the central piece in the determination of who holds power in this country, those two contending forces between the Republican and the Democratic Party. Black folks are the central piece and who determine. That is why the Republican Party, what I'm gonna show you as far as data, is what the Republican Party already knows. And that's why they put billions of dollars into suppressing the Black vote. 1976, 89% of the vote in this country was white, 9% was Black, 1% was Hispanic. Jimmy Carter won 48% of the white vote, Ford won 52% of the white vote. Carter won 83% of the Black vote, and Ford won 17%. The Hispanic vote was only 1% of the Black vote, didn't really matter. But it was the Black vote that put Carter in office. When you look at every presidency since John F. Kennedy, with the exception of Lyndon Baines Johnson, it was the Black vote that put every Democrat in office. There would have been no Kennedy without the Black vote. The Democratic Party has never won the majority of the white vote since 1960. If it was just a vote between white folks, every president would have been Republican. since 1960, with the exception of Lyndon Baines Johnson, who won 70% of the white vote. So Dixiecrat, right? So he, they didn't know who he was representing. This is the power of the black vote. And what we found out is, even when you go to the next slide, this is Barack Obama. He only won 43% of the white vote one year and 39% the other year. No way can you win the presidency with Kerry won 41% of the white vote and couldn't win the presidency. Bush won, Barack Obama only won 39% in his second term, but he won 93% of the black vote. And it was the black vote that put him in office his first term and his second term. And when you look at the numbers, if you take away the Hispanic vote, take away the Asian vote, just use the black and white vote, Obama still wins. If you take away the black vote, use the Hispanic and Asian and white, he loses. That is the power of the black vote. Same thing with Biden. This last slide, Biden in 2020, Biden won 72% of the vote was white, 12% was black, 10% Latino. The Latino vote has been increasing. The Asian vote has been increasing. Other votes have been increasing. Black vote has stayed at 12, 13%, 11, 12, 13% since 1960. But what we see with the Hispanic vote is that the Hispanic, Asian, and other vote, they pretty much cancel each other out. So there's not much either party gains if they win the Hispanic vote or win the Asian vote, because they cancel them out because they're voting almost 50-50 per party, or 65-35 or something like that. So it cancels each other out. The black vote at 90% Democratic is the game changer. And that's why there's so much effort. Again, I can't stress this enough. That's why there's so much effort to remove the black vote out of the electoral politics by the Republican Party. This bottom slide shows 32% of white vote is uneducated, 29% has a high college degree. But that blue is 20%, that's the black vote. We're 20% of the Democratic Party vote. That's a huge base, a huge base. If we remove that, the Democrats never win at all, ever again in this country. If that's taken away from the Democratic Party, what are we getting for that substantial block of the Democratic Party? We're getting nothing. We're getting nothing. And if you look at all those others, the light blue, the green, the purple, they're less, if you add them all up, they're still less than the Democratic, they're still less than the black proportion of the Democratic Party vote. We're a full 20% of the vote of their party's base, and we're getting nothing for it. This is just the infographic that I put together. It says 87% of the Democratic elected presidents. Since 1960, there's been 8 Democratic cabinets, and there's been 8 Republican. There would be just 1 Democratic presidency over that year, over that time span, if the black vote was not counted. And that would have been, again, Lyndon Baines Johnson. The Republican Party would have won 94% would have held the president executive office 94% of the time during the 60-year period. And this last one, that no Democrat can win the office of presidency without the black vote, 0 going forward. And we're getting nothing for our vote for that. So we have, as I stated before, we have the power to coerce and force the Democratic Party. In 1964 or so, apparently, President Johnson said, y'all got to make me do it. You want me to do it, you got to make me do it. What he's saying, you got to use some power. You got to force me to do it. You got to force me or coerce me, but you got to make me do it. You got to come up with some power. I'm saying we have the power to coerce this president. We have the power to coerce this Democratic Party to get what we want. It centers around us knowing. It centers around us knowing we have the power. We must educate the masses around this reality. We must radically inform the Democratic Party that we have this power and we would like to continue to exercise it within the party if we get what we want. We must radically inform the Democratic Party we will only accept a federal redress effort in exchange for utilizing our voting power on behalf of this party. And by indicating our actions to move in the contrary position if our offer to this party is not reciprocated. So again, and there's some ways we can talk about doing that. So again, we have to have an all-out assault on the executive branch of this government and the Democratic Party going forward if we expect to win reparations, and we have to eliminate the chaos that exists in the reparations movement right now. Uhuru.